All right. See if I can make you the host without it crashing. All right, there you go. It's all yours, Sarah.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris, for hosting this class, and thank you everyone for coming. I know that it's nice and easy to pop on when we can do it through Zoom. So I'm glad that so many people showed up today. I'm going to keep it right at an hour, so we're not going to be here all day long. I hope I can keep it right at an hour. If you have any questions or comments as I am going through my presentation and speaking, feel free just to pop up and start talking, or you can type something in the notes or in the little chat box. I'll try to have the chat box up while I am going through things. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in. I am at home right now. I live in the sticks, so my internet is good 99% of the time, but if it goes out, I'll shoot right back on. So just stay tuned if something happens and I pop out. We are going to talk about marketing today, and as realtors, I think that if we as a realtor could pick a college degree that best suited our business, I think that marketing would be the degree that we should choose. You know, we all probably have various degrees. Like Chris mentioned, I was an educator before this, so my degree is in education. But I think marketing is one of the biggest things that we as realtors struggle with. And it is one of the most important things that either can make or break us when it comes to this industry. We can be the smartest, smart, can do a closing disclosure, all the math, know all the vocabulary, but if you do not know how to market yourself, you are going to struggle as a realtor. So hopefully today we can go over some tips and tricks that I have learned throughout the years that will help you make a name for yourself in the real estate market and help show those around you that you are an expert in your field. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Sorry, here's the struggle bus part that I was talking about. I'm slow with things sometimes. So we are going to talk about marketing our business, and we will talk about marketing our listings, but we are mainly going to be talking about marketing ourselves. So to market ourselves, we need to understand what marketing is. So marketing is basically the process where we get goods and services from concept to our customer. So we are trying to show those around us that we are the expert in the real estate field. When it comes to buying, selling, investing, building, anything to do with real estate, we need to be the first person they think of. We need to make sure that everyone around us, our community, our friends, our family, everyone that we meet knows that we are a realtor and knows that we are an expert in our field. So, like I said, we have to market our properties in real estate, but most importantly, we market ourselves. Marketing in real estate is tricky because this is a serious investment. We are not just trying to get people to buy KINDLE or buy, a car even. We are helping people with the biggest investment that they will ever make. We are helping people spend the most money they will ever spend. And if someone is going to trust me to do that, it's my job to make sure that they know I'm an expert and that they know that I can be trusted with such a large responsibility. So that's such a challenge, especially in this market. We are saturated with realtors, which, is not a bad thing, but most people we know multiple people that are in real estate. So it's our job to set ourselves apart in that market. The next slide is a picture of Tom Brady. And the reason I have him on here is because when we think about marketing ourselves, I think Tom Brady is a perfect example of that. Chris, I want you to cover your ears for this part, but we are not, our brokerage does not define us. We are not great because we are at Lantern. We are not great because we are this, that, or the other, or we're on this team, or we have this product. We are great because of us. You are great because of you. And Tom Brady is great whether he's on the Patriots or the Buccaneers, which, was not that great of a team until he showed up. So he is the star. We have to be the star. We have to market ourselves. We cannot rely on the laurels of our firm or our broker in charge or anything. If you want to be the expert, if you want to be the best, you have to put in the work to make yourself the best. And, confidence is one of those things that you have to lead with. Even if you don't feel very confident, you have to lead with confidence, and then the rest kind of falls into place. So just remember, if you want to be an expert in this field, if you want to be the best realtor in Kannapolis, in Mooresville, in Lake Norman, wherever you want to be, you have to put in the work to make sure you are presenting yourself in that fashion. When we talk about marketing, in 2021 or the past few years, digital marketing is really the first place to start. We have so many options when it comes to avenues to market ourselves. A few years ago, even there was still Facebook and Instagram or your website, but now we have TikTok, we have Clubhouse, we have YouTube. There's just so many avenues that we can get our faces in front of people in the digital market. So I've got some of the options listed. A personal website used to be something that you almost had to have to be successful in real estate. I don't agree that that is important these days. Some people still like to have a personal website, but you can do essentially everything on a website as far as marketing that you can do for free on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. All of those places create a free place to have that information shown to the public. I think most of us as realtors have Facebook pages, a professional Facebook page, and that's good, where we share information. Many of us have Instagrams, which is also nice. I know that Kim, one of our realtors, is the TikTok queen, and if you have never been on TikTok and looked at the real estate options alone, it is very informational and something that is a great tool to get information to our consumers. Canva is one that I hope you've used Canva before. Canva is not a platform to market yourself, but more of a tool to create marketing material. It's kind of like a program where you can design and create something as small as a business card or an email signature or something as big as a brochure for a house or a postcard that you were going to use to farm. So Canva is a great tool if you have not used that before. And then YouTube is super popular. I swear, I don't think my husband watches television. I think he just watches things on YouTube, which, kind of baffles me, but People use YouTube to watch all kinds of things and learn all kinds of things. And there are so many realtors who have taken YouTube and have created such a large business for themselves by making, YouTube videos and posting them for the public. When you think about, a neighborhood, maybe wanting to live in a neighborhood. So you go online and you Google that neighborhood. Well, if there's a YouTube video of a realtor that has done a tour of the neighborhood or highlighted some of the amenities that that neighborhood has, that's going to come up on a search, on an internet search. And so that is such a powerful and free way to look like an expert in the market, to post YouTube videos. I will have to say, all of this stuff I am saying, I do not do personally. I have never made a YouTube video. That's great. I think it is wonderful. And I have seen so many realtors be successful. That's not necessarily something I personally feel comfortable with. So I don't make YouTube videos, but if that is something that you feel comfortable with, I think it's a great platform to get yourself out there.
Hey, Sarah.
Yes.
One thing Jenna Black in our office does is she will create a YouTube video and show and send to her clients on what to expect after you go under contract, or use those as little educational videos to send to clients, explaining little things to them about what happens next or what to expect when. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be marketing, but people are more apt to watch a 2-minute video than read a 3-page dissertation on the due diligence process.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. That is such a good idea to do in a way to create a personal relationship with your clients. And like Chris just said, people are more willing to watch something sometimes rather than read it. And that's such a great idea. I'm gonna have to write that down. I could probably do that. I can't post a YouTube video to the world, but I could probably send a video to my clients. So that is a great idea. I think I could
do that. Yeah, that wouldn't scare me as bad.
Yeah, that one doesn't scare me as much. I'm actually going to skip ahead a slide because we're talking about digital marketing. We need to remember, especially with our Facebook pages and our TikToks and our Instagrams, if you post every single day something about real estate, you are going to bore 99% of the people who see it, and they are just going to stop checking you out because you're boring. Nobody wants to see every day, 7 days a week, real estate, real estate, real estate. Here I am. I'm so good. This is the market. This is the market. That's boring. People want to see funny stuff. People want to be engaged. People want to learn something about not real estate. And so I have this 7 days of digital marketing. And if you look at the week, and again, some people post every day on their digital marketing. Some people don't feel comfortable posting every day. I would suggest, whatever your comfort level is, that you make a calendar. And this is something so helpful with everything in life, honestly, where you plan out and be intentional about what you're going to do. But when you're intentional about what you're going to post, you can make sure that you are engaging to people. And when you engage people, they're interested. When they're interested, they start to realize, that you can be trusted, that you're an expert in this field. But you don't do that by just posting all real estate stuff. And so here are 7 days of things that you could post. You could spice it up. Number one, behind the scenes. So, this could be about real estate. You could post something, a video, a picture. And again, TikTok is a good way to post videos and create video content, but you could, a behind the scenes post. So whether it's a picture of your car or a coffee that you're having, or something like that, and you could mention your day in real estate and what your day might look like. On the second day, you could post a tip or a trick, and again, not about real estate, a tip or a trick about anything, kind of a hack that maybe you have seen online or you have learned about anything. And it could be about, your home or landscaping or something like that. But it could also be any kind of tip or trick that does not have to do with real estate. The third day, you could promote something. This is such an important tool. If you want people in this digital space, your friends, your family, your community, to promote you, you need to make sure to promote other people. So on the third day, spotlight a business in your town. I live in Troutman, and I know that we just had a new bakery open in downtown Troutman. Well, there aren't any bakeries here. I mean, we have like 5 stores in all of Troutman, but that would be a good thing to share. There's a new bakery in town. Promote that bakery. Go to the bakery. Post a picture of the donut that you got and a cup of coffee. So again, promoting is an excellent thing to do. Number 4, share a story. This could be a real estate story. This could be a personal story. It could be a story about one of your children, about one of your pets. It could be any story. On the 5th day, do a Q&A. So ask a question to your followers on social media, and hopefully a question that creates spark to answer, not just a boring run-of-the-mill question, but something that people want to engage in. Number 6, create a poll, run a poll, give choices. And then number 7, something that's shareable. So, if we think about something that's shareable, we see quotes, motivational, inspirational quotes people share, or funny memes that people share. So as a realtor, if we are really trying to get an online presence and build followers in whatever digital marketing platform you are using, you really need to get out of the mind space of just posting about real estate. I think we all have seen people who have real estate Facebook pages or Instagrams, and all they post is real estate, real estate, real estate. And that is boring to a lot of people. So just try to think outside the box. And like I said to begin with, if you can plan your post, it is very helpful. So then you're not repeating content, and it's also easier to do that. And then in tools like Canva, the tool I mentioned earlier, you can draft Instagram post, Facebook post, save TikTok videos. You can do all of those things in Canva and edit them and have them set to go. You could spend 2 hours at the beginning of the month planning out your post. Go ahead and draft all those posts and have them saved in Canva. And then every day you could just post it and not have to do that work. So that is such a wonderful and free way to market ourselves, is by engaging with people on social media.
Sarah, I'm sorry to interrupt. Is that a class we can do, a Canva class, for those of us that really have not played much with it?
Chris, has someone had a Canva class before, or no?
Hey, Cecilia. Yeah, I believe actually Jenna has done a Canva class, and I'm going to go back and look and see if it's on our YouTube channel. And if it is, I'll send the link out again.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
If you've never used Canva, it's super user-friendly.
It is.
I have a little bit, but very, very little.
Yeah, I can use it, and I'm not very social media or tech savvy, so it's very user friendly.
Okay, I'm not either.
And I'm not either. I am not very savvy with anything that has to do with technology, but like Chris says, Canva is super simple, and it is great to use for business, obviously, but also it's great to use personally. Like if you need to make an invitation for a kid's birthday party or design your Christmas card, it is so simple. There's a free version of Canva that honestly is everything you would need. But if you want the upgraded version, which I think I do the upgraded version, I believe it's like $12.99 a month. It's worth it for me. I use it enough personally to justify that expense. But again, there is a free version that you can do almost everything that you would need the paid version for. So if we don't have a Canva class, we'll definitely get something like that in the works, because
Yeah,
it is such a great.
I've got the paid version as well, and it's really inexpensive compared to, other things you pay money for in this world. So
Right. It's
um,
great. I love it.
yeah.
Sarah, I have a quick question for you. What service do you use or app do you use for planning out for scheduling? I was using, I think Planoly,
Okay.
but I had noticed that like some of my posts are when they go from Canva to Planoly to Instagram, that they're not as crisp as they should be.
Right. That's a problem. I've had that with Canva sometimes too. It doesn't save, like the pixels kind of save wonky and it doesn't post so clearly. I do not use any service for that. I honestly just like to plan everything out in paper and just save things in like my Canva folder and then post things that way. So it's not automated. I still go in and do that. But I just love a paper calendar and a paper anything to plan. So I have heard of some of those services before, but I honestly have never used them personally. So I wouldn't know which one to recommend or which one to stay away from. But I know that there are options if you want to fully automate it, like that service that you were talking about.
Hey, Rochelle. There's one, I do postcards through Prospects Plus, and they sent me a marketing calendar. They have something similar to what you're talking about, that you can plan out your post. I've never used it, so it may be terrible, but that might be another way to, maybe one you want to look into and see how it works. And I believe it's under Markful, and I'll put that in the chat box real quick, but I believe they've changed names recently.
Oh, okay. Yep. Thank you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Perfect. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? Helpful. Y'all are sharing great stuff. Does anyone else have anything to share? Okay, perfect. If you do, just pop right in. I love when y'all just talk. That's great. So when we think about digital marketing too, it's so powerful when we have client testimonials that we can post on our digital platforms. If you're not asking for client testimonials after a transaction, that's something you really need to do. Most of the time, our buyers and sellers want to help us. I know lots of times I've had buyers and sellers say, what can I do? How can I help you? You were so great. What can I do for you? And I always say, if you want to help me, if you could write out a little testimonial about your experience with me as your realtor, that would be so helpful. And those are great things to post on your social media. Again, not every day. And it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm so great, look at my testimonial, but people see those. And I think those are very meaningful. I have also used testimonials as a way, not upfront testimonials, but I have had some clients that I have asked if I have a future client that wants to know what it's like to work with me, can I give them your telephone number and have them call you? And I have about 4 or 5 clients that, I give out like that, who I know would give me a raving review and who are good with words. And so that's another way, when you think about testimonials, sometimes you might not want something written out, but you might want to ask them in the future, could I give your information to a potential client so they can hear from you what it was like working with me, or ask you a question. So that's not so much digital marketing, but when we are talking about testimonials, that's something to do that would be helpful. And then I think the most important note on here is, if you are going to use any of these things we've talked about, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, you need to fully invest and you need to jump in. If you have Instagram and you post once a month, that's really not doing any good. If you have a Facebook business page and you post once a month, that's not doing that good. That, like, it's, the purpose is not really being shown to your clientele, because they forget about you. You're not going to show up. You show up once a month. So in their minds, they think, well, here he is again, posting one more thing. But when you're posting regularly, you're in their brain, and you look like an expert whether you are or not. So if you are just getting started in this industry and you don't have a lot of clients, you don't have a lot of listings or buyers that you're working with, you have little closings or no closings, the majority of the world does not know that. You are what you present. So if you present yourself to be an expert and you do what you need to do to learn the market and market yourself to the community, to your friends and family, that's what they know. If they see you posting things every day and they see you engaging and being out in the community, in their brain, you're the expert. When they think about real estate, they think about you. If you post one time a month, they don't think about you with real estate. Social media is just, that's just the way that we can stay connected in everyone's lives. We all have people that we see on Facebook and they post pictures of their kids, and you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Nora's starting kindergarten. And then you think, I've never met that child in my life, but I have seen pictures of them. I feel like I know them because I've seen them post pictures throughout their life. So social media, it is what it is. I think it's a great tool. But if you are going to commit to doing something, you need to have a plan. You need to dive in and you need to fully commit. So don't feel like you have to do everything. Don't feel like you have to do anything. But if you are going to do it, you need to do it well to see results. So that would just be something I would keep in mind as you think about the options. We've talked about online marketing a little bit. So now let's talk about offline marketing, which is still super important. When we are a realtor, we need to have a pitch when we see people or talk to people. It needs to be just a little 30-second pitch about, why you're an expert in real estate. So if someone finds out, oh, you're a realtor, and they ask you, how's the market? You need to have something to say. And that something does not need to be, it's crazy. It's nuts. Everybody can say it's crazy or it's nuts. You need to know, oh my goodness, well, last month alone, there were only 25 houses listed in Lake Norman, and there's buyers, they go under contract after one day on the market. You need to have actual numbers of the market that you service, and you need to be an expert, and your pitch needs to convey that you're an expert. You need to make people know that they can trust you. You want to make people feel like they could refer you out if they hear someone talking about real estate. And when they say, how's the market? And you say, crazy, that doesn't really convey that level of expertise that you could very easily convey. So, again, if you do not have a lot of clients right now, you should be studying the market. You should know your numbers. You should go in the MLS, in the Canopy tab. There are so many resources there. The SAM reports, the RPR. There are so many little tabs under the Canopy services that you can study and know the numbers for the market that you want to serve. Know what the month supply is in your area. Know the average days on market. Know the close to list price. The SAM reports are great to get all of that information in Canopy. So again, you need to be the expert. And when someone asks you about real estate, have something meaningful to say. That is powerful. Your name badge. This one is in all capital letters because it is so important. if you're just at home like I am, you don't need your name badge on. But if you are out and about in the community, wear that name badge. My very first sale in real estate was because I had my name badge on. I was going to get my daughter from daycare. And it wasn't even her daycare teacher, but it was another teacher in the building, saw that I had my name tag on and came up to me and said, "Hey, are you in real estate? We are getting ready to buy a house. Can you help us?" And I had never talked to this teacher before. I did not even know her name. But she came up to me because I had my name badge on. And she was my very first sale in real estate. The name badge is important, even if you're not doing anything real estate business wise that day. If you're going to the grocery store, or if you are going to pick your kids up from soccer practice, or go into the school building to pick them up from school, put your name tag on. That is such a wonderful way to let the world know that you are in real estate. And again, I feel like a hypocrite right now. This is a do what I say and not what I do moment, because I have gotten slack about wearing my name badge. I used to be great at it, and sometimes now I'm not so great, but it is such a good tool, and it's free. I mean, that is free marketing. That is free advertising for yourself. People, when they know you're in real estate, then they will ask you questions, or they'll remember that they saw you with the name badge on. So that's such a free and wonderful way to market yourself. Personal letters and notes are very powerful. And this is you writing notes to people, you writing letters to people, potential clients, your neighbors. I know that we all get mail, but usually it's bills or political campaigns or sign up for AAA or this, that, or the other. It's very rare in 2021 for us to get handwritten anything. And that is meaningful to people. So think about, the things that, the reasons you would have to contact someone. Birthday cards, if you know their birthdays, which Facebook tells us people's birthdays. So send people birthday cards, send people anniversary cards. If you see on Facebook that their dog passed away, send them a condolence card, a handwritten note. People remember those things. And when it comes to, 2 years from now, when they think about selling their house, they're going to remember, oh, well, Sarah sent me a condolence card when my dog passed away. Like, how sweet was that, And that is something that is so cheap. You can just have notes. They don't even have to say stuff on the front. They can just be blank notes, and you could mail them to people randomly. If you're just getting started in real estate, it's always nice to write handwritten notes and put some business cards in there and mail them out to people. And then, a couple weeks later, you have a reason to call. You can call and say, "Hey, Chris, I just wanted to check in and make sure you got my note and you saw my business cards and that I'm in real estate right now. I would appreciate it if you would give the cards out to anyone you know that's thinking about buying, selling, investing, building real estate." But personal letters are super powerful, and they do not take a lot of time, and they're very, very meaningful to the person who receives them. The next one is community sponsorships or neighborhood events, give back events, partnerships. This is a great way for us to market ourselves in the communities that we serve. So, think about soccer teams, t-ball teams, schools, people that need sponsorships or money for things. That's a good way to get your name out. A lot of schools let you put banners, like on the t-ball fields or on the soccer field, or, things like that. And usually it's as inexpensive as a couple $100 in my experience, but then you have your banner up for, the whole school year. So that is a way to get your name out in your community. Hosting a neighborhood event is a phenomenal way to get your name out there. I have heard of an agent before. One of my friends had an event, and she got a donut truck, like a donut food truck, to come to the front of the neighborhood and it was there for like 30 minutes. It wasn't even there for a long time, but she paid for the donut truck and the neighbors could come up and get a donut. I think she said she spent like $125. But everybody in the neighborhood knows that she was the one who provided that donut truck for the 30 minutes or an hour. So neighborhood events, sponsoring something is a great way to get marketing and get your name out there. A partnership is another good way. So if you want to partner up with another company to give something away or have some kind of contest, or there's lots of options where you could partner up with somebody to do a bigger giveaway or a bigger event. I know we have at Lantern, we have lots of, attorneys and lenders and people who are willing to partner with us on things. So, insurance agents are a good person to go to partner and do things with. Lenders, smaller lenders that are just getting started would be open to maybe partnering with you as a realtor to host a community event or give back something to a group of people. I was a teacher, so when I first started doing real estate, I guess I started in 2014. When I first started, the first kind of group of people that I targeted were the teachers that I worked with. So I remember at the beginning of the school year, I've got those little styrofoam coolers and filled them with sodas and water. And then I got a little tote bag and filled it with snacks. And I asked the principals if I could leave those things in the little workroom, the teacher workroom. So I did that at 2 schools, and I actually got a deal out of that. I had a closing that came from a teacher at one of those schools who saw my information on the little cooler and contacted me. And so I did. I got a deal from that. So you can focus in on groups of people. Our children are our children are great to get clients. So if we think about, I know I've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I have closed many, many deals from those little kids. They are worth what, all they cost, they are worth when it comes to real estate. When I think about them playing sports and being involved in Girl Scouts, my daughter did Girl Scouts. It's just such an to get yourself out there and find ways to give back and groups to give back to when you have kids. So if you guys have kids, definitely use those little boogers and try to get some deals out of the contacts that they make in their extracurricular activities. And so the last thing on this page kind of goes with what I was just talking about. If you have a niche, capitalize on it. So if I was a teacher and I wanted to capitalize on educators, I could go down that route. If you have little kids and your niche is kind of families moving from their first home to their second home, all your friends and family are kind of in that age group where they're moving from their starter home to their next home. That's a niche. Know who your target market is and know how to capture leads from that target market. So, if you want to primarily work with people who are moving in from out of state, you need to research how to get your name out to those people. You need to capitalize on the market that you want to serve. And so if you don't know, if that's a question you've never asked yourself, you need to do that. What market do I want to serve? Who is my ideal client? Personally, my ideal client is a family that is, has kids and they are moving from one home to a bigger home or a bigger home to a smaller home, whatever that is. That's kind of my ideal client, and who I primarily work with is families. So if you have never asked yourself that question, please make sure you know who your ideal client is, and then you can brainstorm of ways to market to that ideal client. Does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns? Okay, let's keep going. Well. Okay, another great tool, and this is something, a lot of these things I am not great at. I can talk about them, but I do not personally do them. This page, I personally do. So this is something I'm an expert on. Offline marketing, when you think about offline marketing, I think about reaching out as personally as I can to my clients. I found that the majority of my business comes from repeat clients and clients that I have had that refer me out. So personally, I don't work with a lot of people I don't know, or I don't work with a lot of people who I don't have a personal connection to. So someone I know that has referred me out. I don't like to work with strangers, honestly. I don't like to work with just random people from Facebook. I like to love on my sphere of influence. I like to love on my past clients, and I found that that is what works for me. So to do that, I do a few things. I have a personal newsletter that I send out every month. This newsletter is super simple. I make it, well, I made it on Word, and now I use Canva to kind of tweak some things. But in this newsletter, I usually provide statistics for the counties that I serve, like the days on market, average sales price, average price per square foot. I include those for, I think, 6 or 7 counties. I usually have a recipe. I usually put some funny pictures and memes. I mean, it's just a front and a back little newsletter, but I physically mail it to people. It's not an email newsletter. It is a physically mailed newsletter where I don't write their address. I was doing this. I have print off their little addresses on envelopes, but it is something that I mail out, and I'm the one who prints it. I'm the one who stuffs the letters. Now, I only mail this out to about 80 people. So if you were trying to mail out a newsletter to 500 people, that might be harder. It might not be as cost effective to do it the way I do it, but for me, it seems to work. I also do client appreciation events. Since COVID has been in play, it's been a little tricky, but pre-COVID, I always did a Easter event where we would have Easter egg hunts. I would have somebody dress up in an Easter egg or an Easter bunny outfit, and we would have pictures with the Easter bunny, and we would have cotton candy and cookies and juice and face paint. I mean, it was very inexpensive stuff, but it was an event for my past clients. And again, my kind of ideal client is a family with small kids. And so usually families with small kids enjoyed this client appreciation event because they had little kids that would want to come to an Easter egg hunt. And usually this would be done at a park, a local park. So all in, it might be, I don't know, $300 to rent the park space, to have the eggs and all, it might be $300, but it was worth it because my clients appreciated it. They had little kids that would come by. And then usually we would do a fall event also. So like a harvest party, some kind of fall event also. But again, since COVID, I have not been doing those. And the last one, my favorite one, which is something you could all do, and everyone can do all of these things, and you can do them and as large of a scale or as small of a scale as you want to. The last one is a drop-by gift. So I have done this various ways. I've had years where I have dropped by a gift for every client I have ever had. Like since 2014, if you have bought or sold a house with me or referred my name out to somebody, I brought you a gift. Now, sometimes I scale it back and just do everybody in that calendar year. So, like this fall, I might take everyone that I have sold a house to or helped buy a house this year in 2021 a gift. I've done pumpkins before. I've done mums, those little mum flowers. I've done a watermelon in the summertime. I've done a box of chocolates at Valentine's Day. It can be anything. It can be a big gift. It can be a small gift. But I physically take it to their house and just drop it off at the door with a little note, that I was thinking about them. That is such a great way to stay in the minds of people. And also with the pumpkin or with the mum, hopefully they are taking a picture of that pumpkin. They're taking a picture of that mom and they're posting it on social media and saying, you know, oh my goodness, my realtor from 2 years ago just dropped off this mom. Isn't that so nice? And so then they've posted that picture on social media and all of their friends see that. That's not the reason I do drop by gifts. So people will post it on social media to make me look good. I genuinely like to love on my past clients. That's just what works for me. And I'm if you have read the 5 love languages books, I'm a gift giving and gift receiving is my top love language. And so I just like to give people stuff. I like to love on people in that way. And that has worked for me. And again, you don't have to spend tons and tons of money. You could just do your clients from this year, or you could do it seasonally and your clients from this season. So at the end of fall, take them, you know, just your clients from like August, September, and October, take them something. Or, you know, at the end of winter, take your winter clients something. It doesn't have to be where you take 70 people, all your clients you've ever had in your life, a gift on the same day. That might be a little expensive. But that's a good idea to market yourself. And it's also, we know that people buy real estate, they don't just buy one time. The majority of people don't just sell their house one time and live in their new house forever and ever and ever. They're going to need a realtor again. And this is a good way to stay connected with those people. There's not a worse feeling for me as a realtor than to see online or to hear somebody say that this client has moved or they bought a new house and they did not use me. I have had that happen a couple times. And honestly, that is the worst feeling for me to know, you know, I helped them the first time and then they use somebody else the second time. And that's painful. We don't want that to happen. There could be circumstances that, you know, that happens for other reasons, but I don't want that reason to be because they forgot that I was in real estate or that they didn't think I did a good job in keeping up with them or loving on them. So that's kind of what I do to make sure my past clients and my sphere of influence know that I'm still here and know that I want them to use me again in the future. Does anybody have any questions? And I'm a hand talker. I think y'all picked this up by now. I like to talk with my hands. So I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Sarah,
Yes.
there are services out there that will do a lot of the pop by or drop by gifts for you. When I started doing it, we would literally go to Hobby Lobby, pick up everything, assemble everything, blah, blah, blah. And it took forever. But there are companies out there that will send you stuff on a quarterly basis that's, I think literally all you have to do is tag it and drop it off. So
Wow.
don't make it harder than it is.
Is that an expensive service in your experience?
I don't remember. I haven't done it in probably a year or so.
Okay.
But I remember it was worth my time because assembling all, especially if you got a lot of people you're dropping off to, assembling all those gifts, going to the store, buying all the stuff, going to multiple stores to buy all the stuff is time consuming.
Yes, that's true. That's a good point. And I have something similar on one of my slides. If you are not an expert in something, or if it's not worth your time to do it, by all means, hire it out. I am a strong believer in hiring things out that I don't like to do personally. So like Chris mentioned, he doesn't want to do all that. I love doing that. I love buying stuff and going shopping, dropping stuff off to people. Like, it makes me feel good and it makes other people feel good. So that is something I like to do. But there again, in turn, are things that I hate to do, and I would rather pay somebody twice as much money so I don't have to do it. So again, with everything in real estate, you know, if it's not time effective, or if it's you know, not something you enjoy, or it's a waste of your kind of time, hire it out. And that's great to know that there's services out there that you can still love on people, but you can do it through somebody else, but it still looks like it's coming from you. So that's great. All right, so I'm gonna try to wrap it. I'm on about 15 minutes. I'm gonna try to wrap this up. So we've talked about this before. Do not be a secret agent. You want people to know that you're a realtor. You don't want people to meet you and then, you know, say, oh, you're a realtor, like, or 2 years down the road. You want people to know you're in real estate. I have a story to share about this. So I have a little corgi dog, and one of my friends cousins wanted to buy a corgi. And so my friend Melissa called me and she said, my cousin wants to buy a corgi, and I know that you have one. Can I give him your telephone number, because he wants to call and ask you about like where you got your corgi from and breeders and blah, blah, blah. So I said, sure, absolutely, have him call me. So he calls a couple days later. We're talking about the dogs, this, that, and the other. And then he mentioned where he lived. And I knew the house that he was talking about because it's a beautiful house. It's right across from Larkin Golf Course in Statesville. And I had driven by that house so many times. It's beautiful. Like, it's my ideal dream house. And so he mentioned that's where he lived. And I said, oh, I love that house. I'm a realtor. I drive by that house all the time, hoping it's going to be for sale. I search to see if it's going to be for sale. And he said, oh, you're a realtor? We were just getting ready to contact a realtor to buy some investment properties. And so that was about 2.5 years ago. And I today have helped him buy 6 investment properties. So because of a conversation that started about my dog, again, my children and pets seem to get me a lot of business. So if you don't have kids and pets, that I suggest you getting some kids and some pets to get you some business. But because we talked about a dog, and then because I mentioned I'm a realtor in that conversation, I very easily could not have mentioned that. I had never met this man. We were just talking on the phone, but I mentioned it. And like I said, I have sold him 6 investment properties in the past 2 years, just because I mentioned it. So make sure people know you're a realtor. Make sure you slide it into conversation when you can. I camp a lot. My family likes to camp, and I have before met a couple who were from Florida. They were camping in North Carolina in the mountains, and we were just talking to them. I mentioned that I was a realtor. They were about to move to North Carolina from Florida. So I helped find them. They already had a realtor in Florida to sell their house, but I helped find them an agent in North Carolina. So that was a referral fee that I got for doing nothing. I mean, I did nothing other than mention I'm a realtor and help find them another realtor to the area that they were moving, all because I just brought it up. So please make sure you bring it up to people. Make sure people know what you do for a living, and you will find that you get a lot of business that way, or at least I have in my experience. Circle prospecting and farming is a good way to market, to find clients and to find leads. Circle prospecting is where you see that a listing has sold in a neighborhood, and maybe it sold after 1 day on the market. So then you call the houses around that house and say, you know, I don't know if you saw that your neighbor's house sold after 1 day on the market. Lots of people are looking for houses in this neighborhood. Have you considered selling? Blah, 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 blah. It's a way to reach out to people after there has been a sale or an under contract in a particular neighborhood. Neighborhood farming, a lot of people do. I did that initially when I first started real estate. If you are going to farm a neighborhood, make sure you, again, do it well. Don't do it one time and then never again and get frustrated because you don't have any success. You need to really focus in, get your budget set, and then go back from there. So if you know you've got $500 to spend, you know, figure out how many houses you can hit consistently in that neighborhood. Also make sure that neighborhood doesn't have, you know, agent that kind of runs the neighborhood. If there's a preferred agent in that neighborhood, it might be harder to farm for new clients. And also make sure people are moving out of that neighborhood. If you pick a neighborhood where no one ever moves, that's not the best neighborhood to farm. So you want to make sure there's turnover. In this market that we live in, I have found new construction neighborhoods are really great to farm after about 3 to 5 years. A lot of people buy a new construction home, in 3 to 5 years, they move out of that new construction home. So if you know there's neighborhoods that are not that old, like 3 to 5 years old or 3 to 6 years old, that would be a good place to start to farm, because those people are probably starting to think about moving. And especially now, they could get so much more return, like they have so much equity in their home, that's a good place to start farming, in my opinion.
Hey, Sarah,
yes.
one thing about what you just said, I used to agree with the 3 to 5 years, but now, people are signing contracts for new construction and then moving in 6 months later. Well, by the time they move in, they've already got equity in their home. In my neighborhood, we're seeing people move out in 18 months to 2 years, if not sooner.
Wow.
Because they've already got equity in their home. So I don't think it's a bad idea to lay the groundwork, to go ahead and put your name out there and market to them. That way you can kind of develop a relationship with them, or at least they see your face, and they know who you are when they are ready to sell.
Yeah, that's a good, that's smart. And that does make sense. People equity is crazy right now, how much equity you have with the house prices, how drastically they increased in the past year or so. So that's a good idea to start earlier than that time frame that I said, because new construction, I just think new construction is easy, because people, that you don't know, but most people in those new construction neighborhoods, it's not their forever home. Most people kind of move out of those homes eventually. So I think that's a good place to farm if you want to start farming a neighborhood.
Hey, one more thing, and I'll quit interrupting you. There are ways in the MLS and using Realist to, if your neighborhood's 500 houses, you don't have to market to each one of them. You can pick and choose which ones you market to. So don't feel like if you see a large neighborhood that you got to market to everybody. There are ways to pull that list and to cull through it and take out people that may not want to sell, or LLCs that own rental properties or things like that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And please interrupt all you want to. I love when people interrupt. And the last thing, so Chris and I and a couple other, Taylor, I think was there, and Ivan was there, went to a little, I don't know, it wasn't a class. It was like a little, what was it? We went to a couple weeks ago, information session, where we all learned a piece of information that I think is super helpful. So if we talked about kind of your niche market, if your niche is people moving into this area, there is a way to track where people are moving from. And I put the website in this slide right here. So flowmapper.go.census.gov. If you go to this website, you can type in your area. So if you put in Lake Norman or Concord or wherever your target market is, you can see where the most people are moving from to that area. So we know in North Carolina, people move from everywhere. There's so many people from New York and Florida and California, and there's lots of people who move to North Carolina because North Carolina is beautiful and it's the perfect place to live, in my opinion. But this website shows you the people who came to Concord, North Carolina, 20% of the people who came in and moved to Concord were from Buffalo, New York. If you wanted to then take that information and do some Facebook ads, because when you do Facebook ads, you can decide where it wants to target that ad to. So you could take that information and do Facebook ads to show up for people who live in Buffalo, New York. Okay. This is a great tool, and I'm glad we learned that a couple weeks ago, because it really can help you not just shoot in the dark. It can help you make a plan of how you want to market, and it can help you reach out to people smartly and from places that you know are moving to this area. So if you have not heard of that website or ever checked out that website, I encourage you to do that. And you can kind of see, you know, where are people moving from that are moving to our area. And that's a great place to reach out and try to market some business, market yourself to get some business in those places they are moving from. Okay, quickly, I talk about marketing your listings. I am very quickly going to talk about this. Like we talked about earlier, if you are not an expert on something, find someone who is. When we market our listings properly, we look like we're experts. If I take my iPhone to a listing and take pictures with my iPhone, I don't look like an expert when I post those pictures online. So that's why I personally use a professional real estate photographer with every listing I have. I have it professionally measured, just because I don't like measuring houses. So I use a professional measurer. I pay for a professional website. Like, I make my listings look good. And so then when people see those listings being marketed online, I look good. So just make sure you don't, you know, in this market, it's easy to say, I don't want to waste money on professional pictures because I know this house is going to sell super quickly. You know, I just want to put it on MLS and it's going to sell. Well, we really need to make sure we are having the standard of care that we have is the same no matter what the market is. And it just makes us as realtors look good when you market your listings properly. So digital marketing strategies, you know, that's a good way to make yourself look good with how you market your listings. And then, of course, the more visible your listings are, the more buyers you will attract, and the more people will know that you are in real estate. Lots of realtors don't mind if you share their properties on your real estate page. You always want to ask for permission, but you know, if you don't have any listings right now to share, you could share other people's listings on your Facebook page. Again, ask for permission. You need to ask the agent for permission, and you're not going to put it on your Facebook page and say, check out my new listing, but you could put it on your Facebook page and say, look at this new listing. Let me know if you'd like to see it. You know, you could market it that way. But again, ask for permission. Don't just share people's stuff without asking first. But most people do not have a problem with that. So again, I just think when we present ourselves to be experts, which is the goal of this, we need to be experts in everything. We don't need to cut corners and just kind of rush up pictures or, you know, do a junky job just because we can in this market, which is a super strong seller's market. So let me look at my little notes here, because I've got some notes, and then I'm gonna let y'all ask some questions. Kind of what we were just talking about. If you're not good at something, hire it out. Like Chris mentioned, he doesn't want to go around bopping, making pumpkin gifts and this, that, and the other little gift baskets and doing stuff for people. That's not something he wants to do. He wants to hire it out. I don't want to do certain things, so I hire it out. I don't want to measure a house. Can I? Yes, I know how to measure a house. Do I want to? Absolutely not. So that's something I hire out. If you know, don't like doing paperwork, get a, not an assistant, the word has left me, a transaction coordinator. We've got people in our office who offer those services to be a transaction coordinator. So if you're not good at stuff like that and you don't feel like that's a good use of your time, you know, hire it out. You can do as much, be as hands-on or as hands-off as you feel comfortable with. And just know that you don't have to do everything by yourself. Use the tools that are out there and make sure that you're using your time properly by doing the things that you're good at. My last note is there's a book. I love to read books. I don't know if y'all like, I know Chris likes to read a lot of books, but there's a book called It's Not Your Turn. And this book is great for lots of reasons. I don't remember the author off the top of my head, but I want to end with, in this book, It's Not Your Turn, there is a theme of It's called Be a Spoon, Be a Spoon. And that comes from, there was an actress who wanted to be in the Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. And she auditioned, and the only role that she got was a spoon. You know, like in Beauty and the Beast, when they're having all the be our guest, and the spoons are dancing. Well, she got the role of a spoon. And she decided she was going to be the best spoon she could be. And so she was. And eventually, the spoon got the part of Belle. Not that year, but she worked her way from a spoon to be Belle, which was the star of the show. So sometimes in life, and especially with real estate, you have to be a spoon. You are not always going to just show up on the scene and be the best performer in your market. You're not going to be the highest performing agent in your office. You have to start out and be a spoon and be the best spoon that you can be. And when you have that mindset, your expectations are not like, you don't get your feelings hurt. You know, when you first start out and you just think this, I'm going to do the best I can be. I'm going to market myself the best I can. I'm going to do everything I can do to be an expert on the things I can control. And eventually, if you put in and do the work every day, you will be Belle. You know, you won't be a spoon forever, but you just have to have the mindset. And especially with real estate, it's not easy. And the tools are there. Like everything we talked about today is a wonderful tool. But if you don't want to do those things, that's fine. You can pick and choose what you do want to do. But whatever you decide that you want to do, you need to do it well. You need to do it to the best of your ability, and you need to fully commit, or you will not see the results that you want. And that's why when I said to begin with, I feel like marketing is the degree. If I could pick a college degree to have as a realtor, I think it would be marketing. You can't give up. You can't try one thing and expect it to work. And if that one thing doesn't work, give up. Because with marketing, you're going to find, you know, not everything works, and you might have to try different things, but you know, you can't give up, and you have to be confident in yourself, and you have to control the things you can control, which is being knowledgeable about your market, having confidence, and following through with the things that you start. So I think if you do those things, you can be successful in building as big or as little of a real estate business as you want. I don't want a super big real estate business. I like to hang out. I like to go camping. I like to just, you know, be with my family. I don't want to work 24/7. So my goals of making my business be the best it can be might be different than your goals. But whatever your goals are, you just have to make a plan, and, you know, don't give up too easily, because then you will for sure fail in your goals that you have for your real estate business. So, does anyone have anything they want to share or offer, or anything like that?
Sarah, I think you did a great job. I would reiterate, if you're, whatever you choose to do, be consistent with it, because you can't do something once and expect it to stick. You got to be consistent.
Right, exactly. You have to be consistent, and you can't get frustrated. You can't try something for 1 week, and I mean, that's with anything. You can't decide you want to lose weight and, you know, eat a salad for 1 day and then decide, well, that didn't work, so I'm not going to do that anymore. You have to be consistent, and real estate is no exception. It is definitely the rule with real estate. So I just encourage everybody to use the resources that are available to us. And again, Lantern is so wonderful. We have the opportunity for people to have mentors. If you want a mentor, I think that's a great way to kind of build your business. If you're newer, is to find a mentor, or, you know, we've got all these outreach groups. We have all these online classes, and we have the classes that meet in person to kind of brainstorm. So use your resources that are provided to you. And I have found in this company, more than any other company I've been with, people want to help you, and people want to see you be successful. So just utilize that. All right. Does anyone else have anything to share?
Thank you, Sarah. It was a great class.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I will, if you need anything from me, please reach out. I will, send you a copy of my newsletter or send you a copy of this slide or anything that you want. Send me an email and I will just respond back to your email if you want that information from me. And I am here to help you in any way I can.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, y'all have a good rest of the day and I will see everybody later.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.